at LACMA using a giant camera obscura, which is essentially a big pinhole camera. What I love about tonight's program is that Vera, when she made these photographs, she was responding to artwork in LACMA's collection, and the poets tonight are responding to Vera's artwork. So there's a lovely domino effect of creative response. The first work that is spurred a creative response is the work behind me. It's a photograph of LACMA's former Art of the Pacific galleries. And Vera made this photograph in collaboration, working with my colleague Nancy Thomas, curator of the Pacific collections. And to hear Vera tell it, she brought together all of her favorite objects in one photograph so they could speak to each other. And I'm really eager to hear how they spoke to our first poet, Definitive Sound, who Cello will now introduce.
Okay, so if I can welcome Definitive Sound to the virtual stage, and as Def is joining us, I'm going to share a little bit about its bio. Menu, Def Sound would be the vegan option. As an Afro-Latino, parents from Belize and Panama, born and raised in South Central LA, Def Sound, mom given name is Emmanuel Ashley Ricketts, is a Grammy Award considered contemporary hip hop artist, producer, published poet, DJ, and community activist. Def's work as a poet has been included in Saul Williams' anthology Chorus, while his music has been featured in LA Weekly, LA Record, LA Times, Spectrum Television show Music Diaries, and art exhibition The Black Index, which is also curated by my good friend Bridget Cooks. Shout out and love to Bridget. Def is a student at UC Irvine studying African American studies with a focus on Black critical theory. Def synthesizes hip hop and his Afro-Latino roots using music as a healing mechanism while weaving together a tapestry of triumph, levity, ancestry, and power. And now we're going to hear an amazing poem created by Def Sound.
Thank you so much, Cello. Thank you so much, LACMA, and thank you so much, Tanya, for bringing this all together and bringing us all into this space. So this first piece is called The Deities Agenda. A dream doesn't come with genres. God's never had no genders. No, a dream never came with genres. And God's never had no gender. No. This is required listening. Somewhere between metaphor and medicine, the totem is very them. The binary spread is very thin. A deadly myth. When one becomes a god, you are untethered, ungendered, so you can move your efforts towards your mana. Come to find out, the Fijian concept of mana refers to the beyond matter, personal spiritual power every individual has within. I'm a poet, so I'm talking fast. Let's run it back. The Fijian concept of mana refers to the beyond matter, personal spiritual power every individual has within. Let's unpack that. So you get some mana, you got some mana, you get some mana, you got some mana. Mana expansive. Mana enchanted. Mana move like water. Mana pass between individuals by various means of contact, as in touching, spitting, listening, language, you know, sexual intercourse. Mana weak or strong has a comment section. Mana was a communal kind of knowledge. The mana of an outsider would be studied and analyzed, but never monetized. Mana kept a record. Mana had a Reddit. You could review mana. You could choose mana. You could lose mana. You could have your mana increase. Your mana could have an IMDb. Your mana could be all up in these streets. A history isn't something happening in the past tense. God is they, them. The drip is ancient. Exchanging community for private property and paid rent. Weird choice, said in a sincere voice with a big fake laugh underneath all the things you think you need and don't have. A picture. Within the picture is a photograph, which is a presentation, which is a promise of a preservation of a memory. Remember, remember, remember. Now, Feels like a place worth visiting. Everybody loves looking at a recognizable future, though. I showed up naked, dressed in my future clothes, overexposed, double inversion, accessorized, reflection of a duality, holding closer truth that isn't always shown. Before my gray hairs, I found gravity in the gray hair, grounding, blowing dust off the unsaid. Ah, yes, there is a deity's agenda. Article 1. Honor the meaningful multitudes that reside in me. Article 2, put some respect on my pronouns. Article 3, I am the also, the always, the and, the and, the and, the and. Article 4, read the rings of time on my tree trunk and see past life. In a past life, I was an oyster knife held by Zora Neale Hurston. Article 13, the cosmic emerges. The biographies broken into break beats recite me. Article 99, the eternal feminine, masked and mask, truth practiced like an instrument. Article 333, my man had got no twins in this. Article 2000, my man had got no synonyms. Article 2021, my man have been arrived, an archive of the unknown. Look into me. Article 3000, I'm never mentioned in their history books, but stay in their collections. Hella histories held in my mouth. Article 7,000,007. Respect that my coochie fell out.
Thank you so much, Deb, for all your work on this piece. And I saw a lot of love go out on during your program. I also want to remind everyone, as it's a Slam Jam, Poetry Slam, I want you to just send your love to each of these poets for all their work and all their energy that they've put into this. We're going to head on to the other piece, but in the meantime, Deb, can you share a little bit more about your process? And I know that you came to LACMA to see these works in person, and
Yeah.
you know how important it is to be among the work. Tell us what it was like to make this poem.
Yeah, so, I'd be at the house because it's COVID. So I had to make sure that if I was going to go, I needed to see this work in person. There's something so different or just undeniable about the work when you see the actual size of it. And, I think the piece, what I was really pulling from when we saw that piece was that there were Fijian deities that were in that piece that had both breast and penis. So what you're looking at is a God that is non-binary. And so when we think about being non-binary, a lot of times people are like, oh, this is such a new concept. It's so 2020, so 2021. Now they, them is a trend. But really, it's been ancient. And especially within the indigenous communities, that was embraced as it was an expansive way of being. So who could we be if we knew that we'd always been, right? So who could we be if we broke free of those binaries? So, once that was really where I was pulling from when I saw this piece and saw that they were in conversation. I also wrote as the piece, as the deity, and embracing that. And a work that I think is really powerful that if anybody knows about this book, it's called Beyond the Gender Binary by Alok Valid Menon. And it's a great, great book. If you guys are actually really interested in seeing the history of the binary, and once you notice that there is a binary at play, you start to see that there's more binaries that, bigger than black and white, bigger than just race. It's every single binary, which is all the creation, it's important to know that these are creations and that these are not always been. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Daph. I love what a close observer you are of the photograph. I forgot to mention something about the photographs that you're seeing, which is that you'll see all of the photographs have a positive negative tone reversal, and that is because of the way they're made. The camera obscura technique that Vera Lutter employs involves a direct exposure of light-sensitive paper without the use of a film negative. And so normally light passes through film negative before it hits the paper so that you get the positive print. But that's why everything you're going to see today, you'll notice has this very ghostly quality. And you'll really see that in the next photo that we're going to look at and hear about, which is a photograph of a 17th century painting by Franz Snyder. It's called The Game market scenes like this typically feature a combination of figures and still life elements. And just to help you make out what you're looking at, some of the things you'll see here is here's a deer, here's a kind of a pile of vegetables, and you'll see like some kind of little animals in the foreground and a peacock. And then really the centerpiece of this photograph is this swan, which in the original painting is a white swan, but because of that tone reversal, you get this really dramatic black swan. So looking forward to hearing about this. And with that, I will hand the mic back to Desh.
So this piece is called The Recipe. And this is dedicated to my mom, written in my mother's love language, which is food. Mama taught me how to make the cheese. Mama taught me how to make the cheese. Soak the cashews, then we went to sleep. Soak the cashews, then we went to sleep. Blended up with the lemon squeeze. Blended up with the lemon squeeze. Cart full of the EBT. Cart full of the EBT. Pay my mama for the recipe. Pay my mama for the recipe. Pay my mama for the recipe. Pay my mama. I used to laugh at how slowly the days went past when my parents told me that we had to fast. And now it feels like we all hunger for a different history than the one we have. 400 years, no acres, backs aching. What do we do when all the cotton is picked? The means of production needs a new ingredients list. Closely, I'm reading it. Ain't got no meat in it. Paprika, I'm freaking this out. I was born with the season and they just reheating it, sinking my teeth in it. Wow. The cayenne is pivotal. Yeast and nutritional. Love high chef. No meat and no eggs. Look at the plate. Nothing got chemicals. Meat isn't real and that's shocking like Pikachu. I'm hungry again. Yeah, I'm hungry again. I really go off. I'm on a plan. My kale is massage. I'm eating plants. I need the guac. I'm really a snack. I'm finna go raw. Nutritional fact is I got the sauce. But what does the sauce entail? My mama used to shut down Simply Wholesome in every store she walked in, reading the back of every box, bottle, or carton for every ingredient. And if she couldn't pronounce it, we wasn't eating it. Memory stuck to my rib like soul food. Listen, I was homeschooled. My mind grew as organic as our produce while I was passenger seat learning to read. My mama was driving 45 minutes to get us to the Whole Foods. What if I told you that I could go Goku off the tofu? Wait, could I show you that liquefied amino second shelf? That's my go-to. That's between us though, so shh, like the G in lasagna. How we moving in silence. Cause mama made it from scratch. Cause this isn't diet. So pay my mama for the recipe. Pay my mama for the recipe. Pay my mama for the recipe. Pay my mama. So I'm done selling me too short for less celery. I told you I'm going raw, meaning a full salad, please, a living salary, you know, GMO free. The cognitive dissonance between your fork and our differences isn't as far away as you think. No matter what's on the menu, us poets, chef, the way we do letters, we feed us through food deserts, treating bars like arms, embracing like whoever. This poem is a communal fridge wide open for the kids. This poem is a belief. This poem is a mustard seed that grew into a purple hibiscus leaf. This poem is a beat deeply rooted in repetitions. This poem is leading us into the rhythms, lunch tables at nutrition. This poem is non-perishable, somewhere in the back of the cabinet where you keep your convictions. This poem writes you, the warmth of the tea brewed, the hunger pains you laugh through. This poem is your elders looking at you, eating cashews, saying, that's true. Thank y'all.
Beautiful. I'm going to snap at that. Thank you so much for all your work. And my understanding is that this poem that you created is actually a recipe. So I'm going to invite everyone to rewatch this later, get all your ingredients together, and make his mama's cheese, because I heard it's amazing. I also want to share how exciting it was to learn about how you grew up. I think at South Central as a vegan from zero to now, that you've always been plant-based, and I'd love to know what that's been like for you.
Yeah, you know, born in '84, so it wasn't always so dope. We didn't have Miyokos back then. Uh, so the nutritional yeast was pivotal. So was the cayenne. So if you listen to it, that's why I'm saying pay my mama for the recipe, because I'm giving it, you know, it's in there. There's the little breadcrumbs. And really it was sacrifice, you know. My mom, you know, growing up in a food desert, she made it a food oasis at our house, you know. So they still got the garden in the back and it's popping. Like it's amazing. So you know, shout out to those places that were there. Simply Wholesome was one of those places right there on Overhill and Slauson. You know, it's still there. So that was one of the places. That's why I wanted to shout it out. Black owned space that had the health food, and you know, the Jamaican patties are amazing over there. So yeah, but you know, my mom taught me how to read from she homeschooled me from it was right before first grade to fourth grade. I came back reading at a seventh grade level. So it's really an ode and homage to my mother's sacrifice and my father's sacrifice that allowed my mother to stay home and to water me.
Amazing, amazing work, and we can't wait to see all the things that you do in the World Deaf. I believe you're in the Black Index exhibition that's currently virtually up right now, at least. But we can't wait to continue to follow you. So be sure to put your Instagram in there, and we're going to invite the next poet up, Jessica Salgado. And in the meantime, I'm going to have Jenny share a little bit about the next work that is going to be shared.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to Vera Lutter, who is in New York right now, but hopefully tuning in, and maybe one of my colleagues will put in the chat her Instagram handle so you can also check out her work. And we have more resources about the residency on our webpage. The photograph we're going to hear about next is this photograph called, it's a photograph of a painting called Death of Lucretia.